The film begins in a dimly lit bar, where a couple sits together, quietly observing three people at another table. They see a woman named Nora and a man named Hae Sung talking closely, while another man, Arthur, sits silently beside Nora, listening but not speaking. The couple speculates about their relationship. They wonder if Hae Sung is Nora's ex-boyfriend or if Arthur is her husband. They watch as Nora leans in slightly toward Hae Sung, her expression thoughtful, while Arthur remains calm, as if he is used to this dynamic. The moment between the three of them feels intimate but uncertain, leaving the couple with more questions than answers. 24 years earlier, in the bustling streets of Seoul, a 12-year-old girl named Na Young walks home from school with her classmate and close friend, Hae Sung. She looks upset, her steps slower than usual. Hae Sung notices and asks what is wrong. She tells him that she came in second place on their class ranking, while he came in first. Hae Sung shrugs, reminding her that she usually does better than him in school, so it doesn't matter this time. Na Young is not convinced. She wanted to be first. Hae Sung watches her, knowing how competitive she is, but he doesn't tease her. Instead, he walks beside her, letting her process her disappointment. When Na Young arrives home, she steps inside to find her parents, Ji Hyun and Won Young Choi, along with her little sister, Si Young. The house is filled with energy as her parents pack boxes and sort through their belongings. The family is preparing to move to Canada, a decision that will change their lives forever. As they pack, they talk about choosing English names. Since they will be living in a new country, they need names that will be easier for others to say. Na Young thinks for a moment, considering her options. She finally settles on Nora, trying the name out loud. It feels strange at first, but her parents nod in approval. From now on, she will be known as Nora. On Na Young's last day in Seoul, her mother and Hae Sung's mother take them to a park. The children spend the day together, playing and talking as if nothing is about to change. They try to make the most of their time, but an unspoken sadness lingers between them. When it is time to leave, they walk home side by side in silence. As they reach Na Young's house, Hae Sung looks at her, struggling to find the right words. In the end, all he can say is, "Bye." Na Young looks at him for a moment before turning away and stepping inside. Just like that, she is gone. 12 years pass. Hae Sung has completed his mandatory military service and is back in Seoul. He spends his nights drinking with friends, catching up on the years he missed. Though he has adjusted to life after the military, something always feels incomplete. Meanwhile, Na Young, now going by Nora, has built a new life for herself in New York. She is a college student, fully immersed in her studies and the opportunities the city offers. One day, while chatting with her mother on the phone, their conversation drifts to the past. Her mother brings up Hae Sung, wondering if she remembers him. Nora admits that she had a childhood crush on him, laughing at the memory. Her mother then tells her something surprising. Hae Sung recently left a comment on a Facebook page for her father's restaurant, asking if anyone knew how to find Na Young. Curious, Nora searches for Hae Sung online and finds his profile. Without overthinking it, she sends him a friend request, reconnecting with the boy she once knew. Hae Sung quickly responds to Nora's friend request, and they begin chatting through video calls on Skype. The moment they see each other's faces, they are both overwhelmed with emotion. It has been 12 years, yet something about their connection feels the same. They laugh and smile, catching up on everything they have missed. Nora shares that she is studying to become a writer, pursuing her dreams in New York. Hae Sung tells her he is preparing to leave for China for a language exchange program. As their conversations continue, they fall into a routine, talking for hours about their lives, memories, and what might have been. One evening, Hae Sung asks Nora why she never returned to Seoul. She hesitates for a moment before admitting that once she left, she kept moving forward, always looking for the next step. Seoul became a place in her past. Still, she playfully suggests that he should visit her in New York. He smiles at the idea, but both of them know it isn't possible. Their lives are on separate paths, and neither can travel. As time goes on, their conversations remain warm but grow heavier. The more they talk, the more they realize how much distance remains between them. Eventually, Nora makes a difficult decision. She tells Hae-sung that they should stop talking for a while. She wants to focus on her writing and fully commit to her future without distractions. Hae-sung listens, nodding in quiet understanding. Though it hurts, he respects her choice. After their last call, their screens go dark, and their connection fades once again. Sometime later, Nora attends a writer's retreat, where she meets a man named Arthur. They spend time together, bonding over their shared love of storytelling. One night, while sitting together in the quiet of the retreat, Nora tells Arthur about a Korean concept called Inhyun. She explains that it comes from the belief that certain people are connected through past lives. If two strangers cross paths, even for a brief moment, it means they had some connection in a previous incarnation. Lovers, she says, would have met for thousands of past lives before finally being together in this one. Arthur listens intently, drawn to the way she speaks about fate and human connection. There is something intimate about the conversation, something unspoken between them. Slowly, their relationship deepens, and they become romantically involved. Meanwhile, in China, Hae-sung is settling into his new life. Though his connection with Nora has ended, he continues forward. One evening, he meets a young woman, and for the first time in a while, he seems open to something new. Another 12 years pass. Nora and Arthur are now married, both pursuing successful careers as writers. Nora is deeply involved in the theater world, and she is seen working at an audition for a play she wrote, carefully watching as actors bring her words to life. Meanwhile, Arthur has become a well-known author. His novel, Boner, has become a bestseller, and he is seen at a book signing, greeting fans while Nora stands by his side, proud of his success. Over the years, Arthur has made an effort to learn Korean, wanting to connect more deeply with Nora and her culture. Their life together is full of understanding, creativity, and love. Meanwhile, across the world, Hae-sung's life has taken a different turn. After years of being in a relationship, he has recently broken up with his girlfriend. Feeling a sense of longing for something familiar, he decides to visit New York, hoping to see Nora again. When he arrives, fate intervenes. Nora spots him on the street. For a moment, she is frozen in place, stunned to see him after so many years. Then she calls out his name, and he turns toward her with a smile. They spend the day together, walking through the city, catching up on all that has changed and all that has stayed the same. They take a ferry to the Statue of Liberty, gazing at the skyline, talking about their lives, their dreams, and the people they have become. There is a warmth between them, a familiarity that time hasn't erased. That evening, when Nora returns home, she tells Arthur about her day. She admits that Hae-sung came to New York to see her. Arthur listens carefully, then hesitates before sharing his feelings. He wonders if their story is leading to an inevitable ending, two childhood sweethearts reuniting after years apart, realizing they were meant to be together all along. Nora looks at him, understanding his worry, but she reassures him. She tells him that while her past with Hae-sung is meaningful, her present and future are with Arthur. She loves him, and nothing about seeing Hae-sung changes that. Nora decides to invite Hae-sung to dinner with her and Arthur. They go out together and end up at the same bar from the opening scene, unknowingly stepping into the moment where strangers observe them, trying to guess their relationship. As they sit together, Nora and Hae-sung fall into conversation in Korean, reminiscing and reflecting on the past. Arthur sits quietly beside them, understanding but unable to fully engage. Hae-sung brings up Inhyun and wonders aloud who they might have been to each other in their past lives. Nora listens, then simply replies that she doesn't know. They acknowledge that they are no longer the same people they were as children in Seoul, nor the same people who reconnected over the internet years ago. Time has changed them, shaped them into different versions of themselves. After a while, Nora excuses herself to go to the bathroom. As soon as she is gone, Hae-sung turns to Arthur and apologizes for speaking only in Korean. Arthur shakes his head and reassures him that it's okay. When dinner is over, they return to Nora and Arthur's home. As Hae-sung waits for his Uber, Nora steps outside with him. They stand together in silence, staring at each other, as if trying to memorize the moment, knowing it will be their last. The weight of everything unsaid lingers between them. After what feels like forever, the car pulls up. Hae-sung looks at her one last time and says that maybe, in this very moment, they are living out one of their past lives. He wonders aloud where they might find each other again in the next one. Nora doesn't answer. Instead, they share a quiet, brief embrace. Then, Hae-sung steps into the car, and she watches as he disappears down the street, leaving New York behind. Nora walks back to the apartment, where Arthur is waiting just outside the door. As soon as she reaches him, she collapses into his arms, finally letting her emotions spill over. She begins to cry, and Arthur holds her close without saying a word. The final shot follows Hae-sung as he sits in the backseat of the car, staring out the window. The lights of the city blur around him as he makes his way to the airport, leaving behind a chapter of his life that will never be reopened. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.